Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. I thought today we'd do something fun. I've already announced that this reel is going to be given away. That's the fun part. And I thought before I did that, I would give it a little bit of a tune-up here. We did talk a little bit about the reel in the videos, but if you haven't seen it, that's okay too. You're going to learn how to service and take apart a pre-World War II Pflueger reel. This is the Pflueger Golden West reel. And, well, it was made in the 1930s. And, well, it's a survivor. And I'm going to give it away. Why is that? Well, somebody gave it to me. And, well, we're going to give it, we're going to send that courtesy. We're going to send it out to somebody else. Now, I did notice that there is a crack on this side of the side plate. That shouldn't interfere with operation. It looks like it's been epoxied. And but it will interfere with collectability. So those that have entered into the contest to win this, well, don't worry about it. You're not winning anything that's got a terrible lot of value to it, but it is fun. It can be a nice little shelf sitter. It's going to turn nice and easy when we get done with it. And we're going to show you how it comes together on the inside, how it was manufactured, what the technologies were of the time, and, well, learn something from it before we give it away. All right, this is a direct drive reel. There is no star adjuster in there. This is an improvement to some of the other direct drive reels of the time in that it has a free spool override. So what that means is you can release the cast and your handle is not going backwards. It's stationary. And we're going to show you there's a unique little way that they did that. This is not a yoke and a spring kind of a thing where it pulls the gear off of that, if I remember this reel. It's rather enables you to cast, and then to retrieve, you bring that into gear. And now it does backpedal, but that backpedaling now is so that you could fight the fish. When you fight the fish, if you're retrieving and you're gaining momentum on the fish, go forward. If that fish wants to take reel, then you control the drag by backpedaling the reel. On some of these models, you may also find a nice leather fob here. That leather fob would have been used with your thumb, and that was a, well, a thumb brake, if you will. Well, let's get underneath this. Let's take a look at the reel. Let's see if it's classic of the time. We'll understand the technologies, and we'll show you how to service this one if you happen to have one of these. This is a, as I said, a pre-war reel. And if you like these kinds of videos, I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel. And if you do subscribe to my channel, please use the notification button. Today I'm working on a vintage old-timer. Tomorrow it might be the newest of the line, maybe a product review. I think I've got one coming up on a Cast King BFS reel. And that's kind of like the newest stuff around these days. What is BFS? It's a bait finesse system. We're just hearing about that now. But what that is a low-profile bait caster that you can actually cast very lightweight lines and lightweight lures with. So we're gonna do one of those sooner rather than later. And well, we're just gonna kind of do what we can do here. Now, this has got what I call patina on it, but it's also got what I call dirt on it. We're gonna take care of the patina. We're gonna kind of leave that alone. We are going to clean up the dirt. I've removed the 5 side plates. We're going to find out if this crack goes all the way through now. Well, it doesn't. That's a good thing. Looks like we have some kind of a mounting plate on the bottom here. Yeah, that mounting plate is on this side as well. You can see the mounting plate here. And it looks like the epoxy job, whoever did the epoxy did a good job of it. But it does look like it was a complete through break here. I'm looking at it down here, and I'm seeing the epoxy there and seeing the epoxy on this side. So that was a fair way to repair a broken Bakelite reel. The Bakelite surfaces was basically a plastic of the time. It was popular in the 1930s. Some manufacturers like Penn continued to use Bakelite right through like the 1960s and 70s. And well, the problem with it is it was rather fragile, and when it got bumped or bruised, it oftentimes became an issue with the side plate cracking because it was, well, it wasn't like a rubber or something, had no give in it. And on boats, well, boats, they got all kinds of slamming going on them, don't they? You've got a rock and a roll of the sea. You can hit the side rails with the reels. You can get excited. I've seen this on more than one repair I've done on many of the charter boats that I've serviced reels for, and that is that somebody caught a fish, got all excited, brought the fish up on board the deck and slammed the reel into the deck rather than taking care of it. So those things kind of happen. Well, I've just used some rod and reel cleaner on this side, and it's done a pretty good job of getting rid of some of that old dirt. Now, what's probably happened is this reel has probably sat in a parts bin for some time. I can see I got a whole bunch of kind of muddied grease there. So before I go too much further, I'm going to use a little penetrating oil. And I'm going to use a little flat-bladed screwdriver just to kind of scrape that old grease off of there. And hopefully it's old grease and not mud. But this reel was turning pretty free and easy, so we're going to just kind of assume it's old grease. So look at this. We have a technology here, circa 1930s, and the click ring is almost the same as what you would find on a click ring on a modern reel. It's just a metal ring with a click tongue in between right here. The click tongue has a point on it, and that point is going to intersect with a click ratchet on the back of the spool, and it's going to kind of just go up and down, riding that ratchet. Let's see if we can find that ratchet. Yeah, right here. Okay, let's clean some of that dirt off. And this is your click ratchet. It's a series of ridges, and every time that click ring goes in and up and down and up and down, it makes a little noise, and that's your clicker. I don't like to disturb the patina on these types of reels. I do like to clean them up. Looks like we have a pinion gear that can come off there. So I'm just going to use a little penetrating oil. That would kind of be what I would call natural, if you will. I'm going to use the lightest steel wool. I don't want to scrape this. I just want to kind of run it through so that if there's any kind of dirt on there, I'm thinking maybe this might be old salt, let's say, that I'll pull that off. Now, whoever wins this reel, well, you can do whatever you want to do with it. I just had a conversation in my chat on the comments section. Somebody was telling me about how they took a reel down to pure brass. They took all the old side plate posts and they buffed them all out, and boy, the brass really shines. And this, I'm not sure, I think that's an aluminum spool, but it really shines and it looks beautiful. And well, that's the other way to do it. I personally don't do that. I personally like to let the story of the reel run itself. And but that doesn't mean that that's correct. It only means that's what I like to do. All right, so here's your unique piece here. Here's your main gear right there. It's on that stud. When you go in the free spool, look what happens. It pulls the main gear out of the way. So instead of this clutch system that uses two springs and a yoke to pull the pinion gear on and off, this simply pulls the main gear out of harm's way when you go to free spool, and then it brings it back in. Let's see if we can get this off. That's always fun. You know what? For the sake of this, I think we may just leave it as it is. Let's see if these screws will cooperate. Sometimes they do. Nah, that's not moving. I didn't think it would. These things get hammered down over time. So we're just going to leave that as it is. We'll clean around that. Again, if you win this reel, you're welcome to kind of do whatever you want to do with this reel. To me, the beauty of this reel is just understanding it right now, seeing how it functions in form and fashion. Doing a little bit of cleanup. I'll try and keep it to the point where if you just put it out there on the shelf, and you want to show people what a reel was like 100 years ago. Well, it's 90 years ago now. Think about that, right? It's almost coming up on 1940. So let's settle on 85 years, I guess. So whatever it is. Okay, I just kind of cleaned that up. These, you could hold these in pinches if you had if you tried to. So this is a ferrule with a through screw in it on all three of these, and these just look like they've been beaten against the spool and kind of knurled, if I'm saying that correctly, and that's probably what's caused the screw to be difficult to turn on the other side. So at the risk of not breaking it off and losing a giveaway, we're not going to do that. Let's see if I can just take the handle off for a moment. So we're going to clean a little bit of the handle and behind that as well. So an interesting reel nonetheless. How do you win it? Well, it's real easy. Just go to the comment section, say you'd like to be entered to win the reel. This is available only in the domestic US. I'm going to give it away to somebody I can ship it to. So that's the only reason it's limited by that. So if you have a US mailing address, please enter. And we'll do the drawing in about a week. We're just going to do enough of this to, again, take the damaging dirt off of it, but not take the patina off of it. And now I've got that scrubby pad with the rod and reel cleaner. We're just trying to clean up that case a little bit here. Take a level of dirt off of it, if you will. And this is about as abrasive as I want to get on an older reel. Again, you can go crazy on this thing. You can boil it if you want. And you can put it in an ultrasonic cleaner. You can do anything you want at your own risk. But since I decided to give this one away, I'm not going to risk breaking it in the process. All right. Well, that's about as good as this is going to get. We'll take a paper towel, wipe that down. So who was Pflueger? Who was the Pflueger Reel Company? Pflueger was founded by Ernest Pflueger. Ernest Pflueger had 4 sons. He built a business in Akron, Ohio. And sometimes you'll even see reels out there. I think there's one out there. It's called the Rubber City Reel. And I think that was by Pflueger. You'll also see 4 Brothers, which was a Pflueger reel. The 4 brothers being the sons of Ernest Pflueger. So there's all kinds of fun little things that you can learn about a reel, learn about its manufacturer and who made them and when they were made, if you're interested in learning the history behind the machines. All right, a little bit of grease onto the 2 sides of the shaft here. We'll put a little bit more grease. It's been a long time since that grease dried on this one. Let's put a little bit of grease on this side. I'm using an artist's brush for the grease. I like to do that. It gives me some reach and extension, and also it doesn't shed the hairs, so I don't worry too much about that. All right, I got a little bit onto the main gear. I'm going to turn a little more. You can just reach that main gear on this side here, so a little bit more. You don't have to go crazy, especially if it's going to just sit on a shelf somewhere. All right, one final little wipe down, and see if we can't put this back together again. Always a fun thing to do. With that all cleaned up now, we want to take that pinion gear, put that back on before we reinstall. Take the time to clean out the channels. This one looks like it's got some pretty good dirt in there. I'm using a metal wire brush here. Pull through on that to get the old stuff out. That's just dried grease. You can assist on that with the little penetrating oil if you want to loosen that grease. I think we got it. Inspect the teeth, make sure that they're in good condition. Now there is a side on the pinion gear that's rounded. That's going to go towards the spool. Put that grease on. Now you see why I wear this protective glove here. I tend to get a lot of dirt and grease on my hands. I try to avoid that if I can. And what I'd like to do on these is to grease them up. Make sure they're in good stead there. Nice and tight. Alright, let's take the case. I put the metal bar on there that is the support bracket for this rear foot. Let's bring this in and line this up. And I did notice on this one that we have 2 long screws and 3 shorter screws. The 2 long screws came in on those side, front and back crossbars. I'll go ahead and put that back on. So I haven't really done anything. If this was a collector's reel in the truest sense of the word, that it had value and everything else, I haven't done anything to really destroy the value with this. We've done a surface cleaning. We've done what would be called normal maintenance. That is the oiling and the greasing of the pieces. That's all acceptable. We've cleaned off, but we haven't done anything with any hard kind of abrasions or anything in terms of destroying the patina that's on there. We basically just kind of took what we could take of the surface dirt and debris off of it. And again, the collectors, they're going to be looking for pristine models. They're going to look for the box. They're going to be looking for the metal work to be bright and clean and shiny and everything. That's not this reel, but that's okay. All right, one more screw down here. These are the 3 short screws now. So the 2 short ones went in the bottom and the 1 went up top. And again, if reels could talk, we would know a little bit more about it. This reel's been around for, what would we say, 85 years or so. So we would probably have an awful lot of stories to tell. Imagine, you know, it's made right before the war. Maybe a GI that was going to the war purchased this before he left, and then was one of the fortunate ones to return, came back and had years and years of fun fishing with the reel. You just don't know. Okay, we're in free spool. Let's spin the spool. Look at that. 85 years later, and it turns beautifully, even with that crack that was in the case. But again, that was a nice repair that was done there. But look at that. You can't hear it, which is the way it should be. All right, let's put it into gear. Remember, so you saw how that main gear flops out of the way? Beautiful. Look at this. This reel could go fishing today if you like. If you win it and you want to take it fishing, send me pictures of the fish that you catch. I wouldn't be worried at all about the epoxy job. That's probably the strongest part on the reel right now. So where that piece was done. Cool. Very good. Well, this was a way to show you what to do with an older reel. This is the Pflueger Golden West, model 1878, made in the United States, and as we noted, made in Akron, Ohio. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you've entered to win. Before I leave, I want to thank our first responders, our police, fire, safety, rescue, and everybody who dedicates their career to public service and keeping us out of harm's way. And I want to thank you for watching, and for those of you participating in the drawing, I want to wish you good luck. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.